योगेन चित्तस्य पदेन वाचां मलं शरीरस्य च वैद्यकेन योपाकरोत्तं प्रवरं मुनीनां पतञ्जलिं प्राञ्जलिरानतोऽस्मि। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः।
Hello, good evening everyone. My name is Padma Priya, and on behalf of Yoga Vijnana Foundation, I would like to extend a hearty welcome to all those present here for the Mystical Dimension sessions. This is part of a unique series where we will interact with spiritual masters and learn about their personal journey and experience. Tonight, we are honored to have Swami Muktanand Puri as our esteemed guest and look forward to an enlightening session. Before we begin, however, let me take the pleasure of introducing our center, the foundation, and the guest speaker of the day. I will be sharing my screen. Yeah. Our center, the Yoga Vijnana, is a center for yoga, therapy, and research, and was started in December 2012 by Sri Vinay Siddhaya, who is here with us today. Welcome, Vinay. He is an ex-IT professional who left 12 plus years of corporate career with the intention of bringing science and philosophy together and sharing the science of yoga with the common man in the most simple way possible. He is a certified yoga therapist who holds a master's degree in yoga, RYT 500 level certification from Yoga Alliance, a YCB level 4 from Ayush Ministry, and has been a long-term student of the Iyengar Yoga. At Yoga Vijnana, we believe in the experiential journey towards one's spiritual growth, and so far, over 2,000 practitioners from across the world have benefited from our various programs. Apart from regular classes that are conducted both at the center and online for beginners and experienced practitioners, we also specialize in yoga therapy. We conduct many in-depth yoga and health workshops for seekers as well as yoga teachers. We conduct meditations, yoga retreats, silent trek, etc. Yoga Vijnana Foundation is a non-profit organization under Yoga Vijnana, which has been set up with the idea of making the society a better place through spreading the science of yoga. The three main categories of activities that we plan on undertaking under the Yoga Vijnana Foundation include yoga education, holistic education, as well as Vedic education. The main aim of the foundation is to make the knowledge of yoga and health accessible to as many people as possible, especially to those for whom it does not come easily, such as orphanages, old age homes, etc. In accordance with the vision of the foundation, we have now arranged the series called Mystical Dimensions, a journey from unknown to known. Tonight's session is graced by Swami Muktanand Puri. Swami Muktanand Puri is a mystic visionary who was born in 1967 in the holy city of Allahabad, India. Swami Krishnanand Ashram, disciple of Swami Poornanand Tirth, popularly known as Odiya Baba, recognized him and blessed him with spiritual powers. At the age of 32, he threw away his material life to dedicate his life to spiritual pursuit. Having a love for the solitary practice and an ascetic lifestyle, he spent many years with different masters, traveling from the Himalayas to the forests of Madhya Pradesh, performing many different spiritual practices. When he became a sannyasi, he was given the name Swami Muktanand, which means bliss of freedom, or he who is in bliss and free from the fetters of this world. Swami Muktanand Puri has inherited an ashram named Muktipeeth in Unnao district to promote a transformation in the consciousness of spiritual healing, Bhagavad Gita, Viveka Chodamani, and other spiritual texts and spiritual techniques in Russia, Europe, and India. With this brief introduction, I would like to welcome everyone to the discussion. Namaste, Swamiji. On behalf of Yoga Vijnana, I would like to welcome you to the mystical dimensions. Thank you for joining us today, and we are extremely honored to have you with us.
Thank you for inviting me. Jai Shri Ram to all the viewers and you.
Thank you. Both us at Yoga Vijnana as well as the audience, we have a lot of questions we would like to ask you, Swami. But before we jump into that, may I start by asking one myself? I would like to know how you got started in this journey. Did you always know that this was the path for you? Or what triggered your journey in the spiritual path?
Actually, the thing about becoming a sannyasi is that you don't become a sannyasi. It is not like you decide on a profession and you take up that profession, you know. It is ripening, so to say, like a ripening of a fruit at a certain stage. So it is, it's like the force from your different lives, which is coming from the back, which is pushing you into a certain direction, because that force of the sadhana, tapasya, all that studies, gyan, whatever you have done in the previous, that force of that is there. It may not be visible, a visible force, but that force is there from behind. So when I was young, at that time, Swami Krishnanand Ashram Ji Maharaj, he was known as Krishnanand Ji Maharaj Bambaiwale. That is what his popular name was, because at that time there were more than one Krishnanand. You know, typically even Muktanand, you might find that there is more than one person with the same name. So that is why they always try and identify the person by giving him a specific thing from where he belongs or where he goes to, or some other name of Baba or something. Like, for example, I'm called Ruswale Baba because I travel to Russia very frequently. So they call me Swami Muktanand Puri, Ruswale, so that there is no confusion about who the person is. So he was known as Swami Krishnanand Ashram Bambaiwale and Krishnanand Bambaiwale, and he was a very high-level spiritual master in the same at the same time as Swami Krishnanand Saraswati, Anandamai Ma, and all these people. You know, this Baba, who was a Odiya Baba, he would never really take somebody as his direct disciple. So, but what would happen is that they would go to him and then he would say, okay, you go to so and so person and take sannyas diksha from him. So he never really gave sannyas diksha. He took sannyas diksha, he was sent to somebody else from where he got sannyas diksha, but that is the only time he visited the person from whom he took sannyas diksha. He took sannyas diksha from him, came there, and then he started, he continued with his spiritual journey under the guidance of Odiya Baba. Now, Odiya Baba was a very, very powerful master. So in the same way, Krishnanand Ashram Maharaj was also a very powerful master. He was able to foresee many things in the future. He had this peculiar habit of not saying things directly. He would say, you know, when I was born, he would tell my parents, don't consider this child as your own. You look after him well, feed him well, but don't consider him as your own. So they at that time itself understood that he was indicating that I would become a sannyasi. As far as I was concerned, when I grew up like mostly any normal kid, you know, in the same kind of studying and same kind of mischief and same everything, the same normal, whatever every normal kid does. I did all those normal things. But at some point in time, later on, when I became older, around maybe 30, 31ish, there was always something which I was looking for, which I always felt there was an undercurrent, which pointed out that this is not what I'm looking for. There's something else which I'm looking for. And so then at that time, I met some spiritual person who gave me some spiritual practices. And I started doing these spiritual practices, and they changed me very fast. They changed me very rapidly. In less than a year's time, I decided that I did not want to pursue I was I was running a business of my own. I decided that I had had enough of it, and it's like basically it's like you pick up a pot of boiling water and your hands start burning, and you just drop it and say, what am I doing? Why am I doing this? So it's that moment, it was like you're looking at life, and it's like a boiling pot of water in your hands, and you say, this is nonsense. What am I doing? How am I so stupid? You just throw it away. Obviously, you drop it. So that is exactly what happened. I just dropped it and sort of said, enough. This is not what I want to do. I want to go on and do something else. I want to change myself as a person and become spiritual.
Wow. I believe that doesn't happen to every one of us. But Swami, was it difficult to break out of the domestic life? Did you have any?
I had no domestic life because I never married. So I was pretty independent on my own. I was, of course, my parents were there and all that. I was living with them also, but there was no such dependence on any particular thing that I need to. Of course, in society, people will raise fingers and say, oh, you want to be a sannyasi, you want to run away from life and all kind of nonsense. But that is their problem.
That said, Swami, one question that all of us keep thinking is, we decide for ourselves that sannyas is a path not meant for everybody. It is definitely not possible for everyone either. Is that a necessary step in every person's spiritual journey? If not in this birth, somewhere, sometime else, is that a necessary milestone that one has to cross?
No, it is not a necessary milestone, but you must understand what sannyas is. So basically, you reach this particular level of spirituality where you're really not concerned about the rest of the world. You're basically concerned about your main focus is enlightenment, it's self-realization, it's liberation. It's not really about worldly things. You don't really care about them. They're there, but they don't really matter so much. So at that point in time, the sannyas diksha is only the formalization of that internal state. It's not something separate from you. Of course, in sannyasis, there are many people who are beginners. There are many who are on the path. There are many who become perfected. But basically, for a spiritual person, when we look at a spiritual person, he reaches a stage where he's not really connected or interested in what is happening in the world. So the moment he's not interested, he's already like a sannyasi. So he now saying that does not mean that many people who are not sannyasis start saying I'm a sannyasi, because that's not what sannyasa is about. It's much deeper than that. But at the same time, he is ready to be a sannyasi. Let's put it like that. Or he is living a lifestyle which is to a certain extent close to the sannyasis.
Okay. Swami, you do a lot of sadhana as well.
There's one other thing I wanted to point out. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
No, please.
In this sannyas tradition, in the sannyas tradition, when we are given sannyas diksha, this diksha has a very large effect because it is got some parts to it. One part is that there is a sankalp which is taken at that time. You take a very hard decision, you can say, that I will not do this, I will not do this, I will not do this, and that is done at that time. According to Hindu tradition, we also have this process of pindan, so which means that for our parents and everybody else, we do the pindan, and we are doing it when they are alive also. In fact, no, because many people say that you should take sannyas only when the parents are dead and all that, but practically when you're ready for it, then you're ready for it, and that's the time you need to take it. So we are actually doing pindan for the parents even when they are alive. So that is one of the second things. The third thing is there is something called a Vijay Havan which takes place, which is done so that you become a perfect sannyasi. So when these three things are done, there is, depending on the person, some people, they may not be, may much change, but generally if you're ready spiritually, there is some change in the person. It's very difficult to put your finger on it and say, this is the change. It's very, very difficult to say, oh, this is exactly what changed. I cannot say that, but something changes inside. It's very difficult to explain how and what changes, but something changes during that entire process. When the guru gives you the diksha, he gives you the, there are different, there are differences in tradition a little bit, but normally they will give you the Hans Gayatri, which is meant for the sannyasis, and they might tell you some month for the Amna and all that, which you belong to. So that is how it works.
Okay. Swami, one thing I wanted to ask you was, you perform sadhana, you undertake sadhanas. Yeah. So is that a norm for your sannyasin, or is that something of your personal interest? Like your sadhana is on mantras. So I would like to ask you in detail about that as well. If you can explain a little bit to us, why did you choose mantras as a sadhana? What is your sadhana about?
See, actually, the thing is that there are very few people who have a very clear understanding of the Hindu system and Hindu way of life. So we have in the beginning of our system, we have something called Dharma. Dharma does not mean religion as is misunderstood by people. Dharma has got a different meaning. Dharma is, today the word dharma is used in the same way as religion, but that is not what it means. Dharma actually means anything which is something which is worth upholding and imbibing and bringing into yourself. It is that something which upholds you and society both together. It's not something which upholds only you or only society. It has to uphold both you and society both. And then there is a small little shlok in Sanskrit where it is basically what he's saying is that if you read a few thousand of the scriptures, from the scriptures, when you read about dharma, you will deduce that if you do punya, for instance, punya to others, that is, that punya karma is, if you do good to others, that is punya. And if you do bad to others, that is pap. Pap karma is doing bad to others, good karma is good deeds, going to good deeds for others is punya. And that is what defines dharma. So if you ask a Hindu about what is Hinduism, some of them will react very simple, it is doing good to others. So that is the baseline for dharma. So when you come into the other part of it is adhyatma. When you come into from dharma, when you come into adhyatma, then in adhyatma, they already understand that you have a reasonably good understanding of dharma, which means that you understand how to live properly, to uphold the noble qualities, noble values, to uphold the moral values, to live a life correctly, to behave properly, to the difference between what is right and what is wrong. You see, so these are things which you clearly understand. When you have understood this, then that is, of course, you have to keep understanding them all your life, because you don't really understand to the end. But it is expected of the person who is going in that he has understood this to a large extent. There is a large understanding of this of what is dharma before he starts on the adhyatmic journey. Now, what is adhyatma? Adhyatma is knowing yourself. Is to know yourself. Now, in this you have there are three levels of it, or actually there are more than three levels, but for the sake of clarity, I'll explain three parts to it. One part is the theoretical part, which tells you why and what and how and what are the gods and what are the devtas and how to worship them and what is the practice and all that stuff, which is the theoretical part. It will tell you about. Second is the practice itself, doing that. And the third, which is the highest, is Advaita Vedanta, which is the top level where you're working, where you're working on yourself to realize yourself finally. You're working at every level to realize yourself, but at this point, basically, there's a change in that point. At that point, you're going beyond the sadhana and everything. The sadhana, there is sadhana there also, but it's a different kind of sadhana. Now, one of the other things is I don't know who are the other sadhus, what kind of sadhus they are, what their understanding is. Usually, one of the problems is that many of our sadhus who are into Vedanta, they will scoff at all the other paths. They will scoff at yoga and they will scoff at tantra also. So this tantra word is also misunderstood very deeply. Tantra actually means, if from a point of view of sadhana, it means that the rishis over there, from the word drishta, there was the word drishta meaning the seers who saw. They were the rishis, and the rishis were the ones who gave us a systematic method of praying to devtas or forms of God. You can say forms of God. In English, right word is devtas. Devta also has other different levels. So we are praying to these devtas or Bhagwan or Ishwar, like we say. And that whole process and system is given to us. That is actually known as Tantra. Right? In the simplest way, there are of course more and many definitions. So there is other definitions such as the spiritual practice, which are given, are also known as Tantra. In the same way, there are other parts to it, like how to protect yourself, what is creation, and there's a point of continuity and all that stuff, which will also go into it. But for a normal person, it's a way. Now, this knowledge which was passed on is also the Brahmanical way, because this is systematic. It's a systematic process of learning. So a Brahman is a person who knows Brahman. Brahman is not a person who is born by birth alone. He's a person who has realized Brahman, who knows Brahman. He knows Brahman. By Brahman, I don't mean Brahma. I mean Brahman. Okay? He's a person who's realized Brahman. In the Sannyas tradition, in Shankaracharya tradition, all these three traditions, Tantra, Yoga, and Advaita Vedanta, they all go together. They don't go separately. Shankaracharya himself was all three. He was a yogi also, which you can read about his Parkaya Pravesh and all that. If you go into Srividya, from which school I am, you will find that in that we have these, he's in the lineage. In our lineage, he's one of the masters in the lineage, and it comes through him. The lineage is passed on to us. And when we speak of Advaita Vedanta, that is what Shankaracharya is known for. So he is in all the three things. He has learned himself, he has taught them, passed them on, and that is what the tradition. It is not individually only Advaita Vedanta. It is not Yoga Shastra alone. It is not Tantra Shastra alone. Now, when you talk of Tantra, there is always Tantra, Mantra, and Yantra, three things which go into it. So there is because it's Brahmanical Vidya from the Rishis, it has a system of how to worship, how to practice. So the thing about Yoga Sadhana is that people know me for my Mantra Sadhana, but one of the things I teach is Pranayam regularly. I have a program, which is what I'm teaching in the West most of the time, which is what, I'm mainly known for there. But my personal individual sadhana is both, to some extent, a little bit of pranayama, but more mantra sadhana. Why mantra sadhana? Because basically Srividya is one of the higher forms of knowledge, and it encompasses all kinds of other sadhanas also. It's normally, like, my Guruji was an Acharya Mandaleshwar of one of the akhadas, Atal Akhada. So we have 5 divisions in Mantra Shastra. The first is Ganpati Sadhana, second is Shaiv Sadhana, Vaishnav Sadhana, Shakta Sadhana, and Saurya Sadhana. So all 5 of them are there, which are there in this. During the course of the sadhana, we do all 5 of them. So main focus of that is on one particular form, which is the Divine Mother in my particular case, which is what I've done maximum. But apart from that, I will keep trying to do other forms and other things for various reasons. Now, that is a detailed topic, but we keep doing them. The thing about Yoga Sadhana is, for example, now that today we have the system where we have biofeedback machines and all that. So when you're doing meditation, you can go to a biofeedback center and you can sit and they can measure, and so you know whether you've done better or not. But that is not a technique available to everybody. It's not a system which is common. It's not like going and getting a blood test done. It's not like anybody can get up and go and say, all right, I am meditating, please see if there is some change in me or not. So it's a little abstruse. It cannot be abstract and abstruse. It cannot be measured. It's not really measurable, In mantra sadhana, relatively, there's a certain mantra, you have to do a certain number of repetitions. That is a very large number. It may be like 3 million repetitions, for example, 7 million repetitions. So it takes years to do that sadhana, but you have a short system where you're doing the mantra. The particular mantra will give a certain kind of energy. It creates a certain energy around you. And because there's a transfer from the guru also, which is a part of the diksha. The diksha does not mean there are 4 kinds of upaya, they call them. So there is anupaya, meaning no means. The second means is anupaya, small means. Third means is shaktupaya, and fourth is shambhavupaya. So first is no means. Second is where you have taken a mantra from us, some pandit or book or something here and there. You are doing something. Third is where shaktupaya, where the guru has transferred with shakti. The fourth is shambhav, when a person is completely ready and in one shot he receives shakti path, and he's almost at the point of enlightenment with one shot. But the Shakti path is only for a very, very rare few. So usually in the Shakti Upaya, there is a Kram Diksha where one mantra is given and energy is passed on, then second time, then third time, then fourth time, and that is how the Kram goes. So it is systematic. That is why this is a very attractive system, because you can systematically work at it, and you know that when you finish this, you reach the certain level. So that is the reason why mantra is attractive. And the other thing about mantra diksha is when you're doing meditation or any other pranayam for that matter. Of course, pranayam is also a generic term, and the same will go for meditation, because there are many different kinds of pranayams and meditations. And so it depends on the combination and the style in which you're doing that day. The whole set of exercises, the whole set of exercises and the effects it has on you will matter. It'll also depend on, it'll also have, give different parameters with your body and all that. So that is one of the other factors which is there with yogic exercise. But with tantra, the thing is, with mantric practices, the thing is that you can, pick up a very specific kind of energy. If you understand that, you can pick up a very specific energy and develop that particular energy. So that is the plus point which this has. Of course, you will eventually need to work on other energies also to balance out that one energy, because too much of one thing can create some certain kind of disbalances. But normally when the mantra works, it will not focus only on one thing. It will also, work in a broad sort of way in many ways. But to make it more broader, one will do other practices also. So that the reason for selecting mantra sadhana was that number one, Shivya is a top level sadhana, which is done by the Shankaracharyas and other sadhus. And secondly, it's a very beautiful path, and then there is a lot of knowledge involved in that in the sadhana itself. And so that is why I wanted to do this, and my guru was kind enough to accept me.
Thank you, Swamiji. Speaking of mantras, what we normal people understand as a mantra is the shlokas that we were taught when we were children, or even as adults. So one question I always had when, for instance, my father taught me Gayatri Mantra or any other shloka for that matter was, what is it about the mantra that makes it yield the result? Is it the words? I have heard one of my teachers mention that the Sanskrit, the shabd in the mantras are tied together in such a form that the mere pronunciation adjusts your breath in such a way that it is beneficial to you. And sometimes I hear that it is the repeated chanting that makes your mind totally focus on the certain aspect of the mantra. And there are people who say that mantra is of no use unless you understand the meaning behind the mantra. So what is the science behind it? I know that you have explained it you have made videos about it, but if you can just give a very short, brief idea of what makes a mantra work.
Actually, this is not a question that can be explained in very, very short, but I will try to keep it as short as possible. But it's a question which is best understood properly, because it's a thing, it's something which if you take up the path, then you will be practicing it. Also, all the people who are into yoga sadhana, who are doing, when we say yoga today, people understand that as asana mainly. But even if they are doing some pranayam and they are doing some meditation and all that, Still, normally everybody does some part, some mantra they will do regularly. Now, this is what I explained to you that uh, in the there are causal sounds which are called nad. Nad means unstruck sound. Unstruck means when we clap. This is a struck sound. We two things were bang. So we take a drum, we hit the drum, it makes a boom sound. So it is a struck sound. Then there is some sound which is called unstruck. When you sit in meditation, then these unstruck sounds, these nada, they are heard.
Okay.
So when these nadas are heard in the beginning, the original one of the original sound which was heard was this om sound. The om is it's actually not a clear sound like people say om or aum, whatever explanation people give. And there is, by the way, from the best of my knowledge, there is no place anywhere where I've seen where I found where one can find the actual uh, pronunciation of the om. The actual sound of om is not really clearly explained anyway. They may have given an explanation about how it is in made of three words and this and that and all that, but that is a lot of it is intellectual jugglery which our ancestors love to do. So this intellectual jugglery doesn't always give you the precise thing. So when you actually sit in meditation, the sound which you hear is something like it's changing a little bit all the time, going up, going down, and it's not a stable sound exactly. It's a slightly changing sound all the time. It's not with a beginning or with an end. It's just going on. Now, when the rishis sat in meditation, they started hearing different sounds. The thing about Sanskrit language is that the reason that makes it divine, actually, it's a secret. It should not be exposed. But the thing is that modern scientists have come pretty close to understanding it, especially the Westerners. So the secret of the thing is that it is the language is when you talk about these petals in the mind, they're these of the chakras. They're not petals. They're actually nadis which are going, and each of these nadis has got it's a subtle canal. Each of these subtle canals, they have a particular vibration. That vibration is a vibration of a akshar. Now, akshar, kshay, that which can be destroyed. Akshar, that which cannot be destroyed.
Oh.
Okay. So this is a sound that cannot be destroyed, and it is a nada. It is a variation of the original nada. It is coming in different forms, and they see that sound coming. So when the particular sounds their combination is put forward of these akshars, they form a particular sound and they evoke a particular energy. Number one. Number two is that there are many sounds like, for example, the Saraswati Bij Mantra, Hininkar Bij Mantra, Ainkar Bij Mantra, Klinkar Bij Mantra, and all those mantras. These mantras they are unstruck sounds. They are also heard by the people when they did their meditations, and they have specific energies attached with them. So these mantras then they form. So these are what they call Bij Mantras. So the Akshar is a Akshar, but when there is a Bindu or a Visarg with it on the top, then it becomes a mantra. Now these, so when you make a mantra, there are many classes of mantra, which is why I said there is no shortcut of really explaining this, because then there are these Bij Mantras, then there is a combination of these Bij Mantras, then there are the combination of certain Bij Mantras, then there is combination of Bij Mantras with certain alphabets, So, and then they are added with certain devtas. So the whole mantra, the whole system is a large system. It's not something which can be understood in one shot. If people really want to go into it, in Sattology, there's a canal called Sattology, in which I have made numerous videos on mantra, in which I have given some explanation, so they can watch on that channel. They will be able to find some 7 videos we have done only on mantra. And every video is for half an hour, 40 minutes. There we have taken up many different topics, and so that should be able to answer many of the questions, not all the questions, of course, but now this is one part. So this is where the sound originated, vibration originated. This is vibration had a sound, vibration is what created the sound. This sound was heard by the rishis. They in turn give it a akshar. That akshar with a bindu or a visarg became a mantra. That in combination formed letters and words. And those in combination also form mantras. So there are different kinds of mantras. Now there are three paddhatis with them. So there are two other things. Now one is that what I explained to you earlier about the four upayas. So in the Shakt Upaya, the Guru is actually the mantra when it is given, it is given to a Shishya along with energy. It's not just a, so it is not like you picked up a mantra from a book and started reading. It is useless. It is not going to function and it is not going to give you any result. If you picked up a book from it, so something will happen. But it can be incomplete. Nothing can happen, number one. Number two, something incomplete can happen. Maybe 20%, maybe 30%, maybe 70%. Maybe it can work against you also. There are many mantras which will work against you. You know, I have my channel, there is a story about Dhumavati goddess which I have written. My experiences, my something with Dhumavati. If you look for it, you will find it. In which I have described how much trouble I got into because I did a mantra on my own. So, yeah, I got into a lot of trouble. I burned literally. So we have people like me. There are very few of us left who are actually into Tantra Marg, who are pure Tantra Marg. Of course, I'm not a pure Tantra Margi because I have done Yoga Sadhana and Advait Vedants also, which is what the tradition is. But people who have really spent energy and time on Tantra Marg, there are very few of us left actually. And there are most of us have, burnt our hands and learned. We've always burnt our hands. So there is a whole experience about that. It's a 10-15 minute story, so I will not relate to you now. But so that is what you can get into a lot of trouble with that. But the bigger part is that like the mantras which are there, when they're given by the Guru, he is giving his energy along with that. It's like your father's a billionaire and you go to him and you want to start something. So he says, son, here's $1 million for you. Here you can take this money and start something, So when you start working with that, maybe with the million, when he saw you were working, you worked with the million and you created 2 million or 3 million or 4 million. Now he came in and gave you another 10-15 million. So you suddenly jumped. So this is Kram Diksha. Now you suddenly jumped and you made that 15, whatever you had with the experience, you started making some 40-50 million. When you made 50 million, he came again with you and gave you another billion. Again you started working, you see. So this is how Kram Diksha works. This is what it does, because at every point the Guru will lift you up. He will lift you up again. He will give you more and lift you up. He will give you more and lift you up. And so if you had to start on your own, it is firstly not working. So that million will become 500,000. Even if it doesn't 500,000, it will become 1.1 million, 1.2 million, 1.3 million, 1.5 million, 1.7 million. And by that time, because of the Diksha, because other man is prepared, he has reached already somewhere around 1 billion or something. You're still sitting at that 1.10 million or something like that, or 1.5 million maybe at best. But here it is, he has already reached a very, very high level of evolution because he got helped by the Guru. So this is the other part of that. Third part is that the sadhana which is there, it is divided into, there are three particular paddhatis. Paddhati means, so here it means methods and streams as well. Paddhati actually means methods, but here it means 3 streams as well. So when we talk about Yoga Sadhana, we have 3 canals over there, Sushumna, Ida and Pingla. So this Pingla is the Surya canal, Ida is lunar canal, Sushumna is fire canal. Same way the mantras and energies also work in the same order. Now the reason that we don't allow the ladies to do the Vedic sadhana is because that this is the Surya Upasana. So when she does Surya Upasana, firstly it will make her nature rough, like the sun, no? It will make her aggressive and angry, and different kind of power is there in the Surya Upasana. Number one. Number two is that the subtle and on the level of the subtle energy, there is a system inside your in all of us. Actually, we both have the male and female energies, but the male energy is dominant and the female is dominant. But in the female energy, there is a softer energy which gives them this energy is known as ojas on the lower on the subtle level. This energy of ojas is the one which helps in childbirth. It's a particular energy which is there with the women, which is a moon-like energy. If you see a traditional woman in most countries, everywhere in the world, it's not just in India. If you see a Chinese, for example, or you see American, or you see a British lady, or you see an Indian, or you see a Malay, The ones who are traditionally brought up, you will see that calmness and gentleness in them. That's a natural temperament of women. So this, lunar energy is the one which goes along with them, which is why they're given lunar sadhanas. They're not given solar sadhanas. And Agni sadhanas, sometimes you can take them, which is why the Gayatri Mantra is not allowed for women. People are doing it today whenever they are doing whatever they feel like. That nobody can say anything. But when the Guru gives the Gayatri Mantra to you, when you start doing the Gayatri Mantra, literally you will start sweating. It is to that extent that the Gayatri will start working. So that energy of the sun is, because he's given it with power, it starts working. So it's not like just a mantra. It's not just words. It's the power of the Guru, the sadhana he did, and the Guru before him, and the Guru before him. So it's the blessing of the whole lineage which gets linked in when you get Diksha. And that's why Diksha is important, which is where the Guru will give you the energy, pass on the energy for you. And when you start doing the mantra, then whenever he sees you and he feels that you need something, he will give you something additional. So that way your energy keeps hiking up faster and you keep getting that particular kind of energy which suits your system. So that is one of the other things. This is in very, very short. I've given you a very long story.
Yes, I did watch a few of the videos. So there were some questions further, but I guess this is a limited talk. But one thing that is still pertinent is, does the number of repetitions matter? Is it?
Yes, of course. Yes.
Okay.
So that is the other part of the thing, that when you go to a guru and he will give you the mantra, he will tell you exactly how to do, what to do. Because it's not actually for mantra sadhana to succeed. There are 32 parameters which are important. Of these 32 parameters, normally there are 7 or 8 parameters which are very important. Most important parameter is to get Diksha from a guru. First parameter, because that means that the mantra has come under control of the guru. So when you do it, some things will happen, but he will be able to help you and control it for you. Secondly, he will tell you on what asana to sit. Asana meaning on what kind of material to sit. Not the asana which you do, but the material of which we sit on is also called asana, whether it's woolen or this or that or whatever. Then which direction to sit in, which jap mala to use, how many repetitions to do. Thumb of the thumb rule normally is for, say, if we take Gayatri Mantra. So Gayatri Mantra, it is 24 Akshar Mantra. Gayatri Mantra, which is without the Om. It is 24 Akshar. It is called 24, it's a 24 Akshar Mantra. It is without the Om normally, but the Om is added everywhere by everybody and they do it with the Om normally. Om is a fire paddhati vibration. It is not a lunar paddhati vibration, which is why it is used in pranayama, meditation, because there we are trying to activate the solar, the Agni channel. We are interested in the Sushumna. We are not interested so much in Ida or Pingla. Our interest is in Sushumna mainly, which is why we are trying to activate it, which is the fire channel, which is why Om is the one which functions the most. It is also the smoothest when you're doing pranayama and stuff like that. But here, normally, in most of the mantras, they've added the Om, but the Om, according to our tradition, should not be there because it becomes an additional 25th. Now, when you are doing 24, the saying is that in Satyug, 1 lakh for each alphabet, each akshar, a syllable actually is the right term. So then this is 24. When you're in Kalyug, 4 times that. So it becomes 96, 48 plus 48, 96 lakh repetitions for the Gayatri to make it perfected. Then after that, the system is that when you do the job, you have to do 10% of that is Havan. 10% of the Havan is Tarpan. 10% of the Tarpan is Marjan. 10% of the Tarpan is Brahman Bhojan or the Kanya Bhojan. So if you just calculate 10 and 10 and 10, so it becomes 96 lakhs, 9.6 lakhs, then it is 96,000, I think, then 9,600 and 960. So this entire sum, at least if you can't do the rest of it, at least you have to do job, which means this will go to about 1.1 crore or something like that. More than, about 1.1, 1.2 crore is the repetition for the month. So if you had to do the Gayatri Mantra regularly and you did 30 malas every day, which is a very tall order, unless you have been doing Gayatri regularly, say averagely a very new Westerner, for example, will take 15 minutes and new Indian will take 10 minutes. If you have been doing the mantra for a long time, you may take 7 minutes and 6 minutes, and so it can come down to 2 minutes also, but that is if you have been practicing for very long. So under normal circumstances, if you're doing even 7-8 minutes, so 7 minutes into 10 malas is 70 minutes. And make that into 30, 31, 34 malas every day. So that is about 3.5, 4 hours of sadhana every day. If you can absorb the energy is also there. It's not just the mantra you're dealing with. The energy is working inside and it's also checking out everything, and it's, so it's affecting you also. And that, so now you are doing, how much you have to do? 1.1 crore. So how much are you doing per day? Say about 3,000, 3,500. So it will take you at least 10 to 15 years to do the mantra regularly. So normally that is why we advise that they should start the Bij mantra first and develop the practice, so that the Bij mantra is 4.5, 5 lakh you have to do. 5 lakh you will finish in 6 months. Then you increase the mantra to a larger size, 3 akshari mantra, 3 akshar. Then after that 6 and 9 akshar. Then slowly eventually go to 24 or a large akshar mantra. So the repetition certainly matters, and the understanding the meaning. If you know the meaning, it is good. But the issue also is that, see, if you have a headache and you say, I don't believe in aspirin. Okay, if you have a completely negative mind, you say, no, it will not work on me. Your will can affect the power of the medicine. But if you're extremely strong-willed. But under normal circumstances, if you don't believe in it, or if you say, I don't think it will work, and you just have the medicine, it's still going to work. See? So same way the mantra, if you don't understand it, so long, whatever the mantra is there, whatever its function is, it will work. Point is, you have to know what you're getting into. Like I did this Zumamati mantra and got into a lot of trouble. So you have to know what the mantra is for, what it is going to do, not just take any mantra and start doing it. Of course, the other thing was that there were two other factors. One was that I had received the mantra diksha from my guru, and because I had received mantra diksha, the other mantras also started working. Secondly, I was sitting at a spot in the Himalayas where I did this, where there was a very powerful energy. So the energy itself over there, that powerful Devta, Talkeshwar Mahadev, he also put in a lot of energy into he put in power into the mantra, so it started working. It might not happen with you at home so easily, but then I got into a lot really big trouble. It took me more than 1 year and 30 lakhs sadhana to get rid of all that trouble. So,
oh God, okay. So, Swamiji, from what you said, I understand that not all mantras are suitable for everybody. Like there is an energy associated with each mantra, and one should be able to bear it, and one should even need it for that matter. But since not all of us can undertake or get diksha from Gurujis.
No, that is not true. That is not true. Don't say that. Everybody can get diksha. You see, the problem is that you don't look for the person, number one. You're not looking for the person. You're not taking the effort to go and meet the person. See, when I went looking, when I did my sadhana, people told me Vaishnav Tantra is all gone. It is no more. You can't find it. Very little is left. This, that, all kind of things. Eventually, I found out that it is there. I went and found Tatamri Baba, who was living in the forest. I found him in the forest. He gave me a sadhana. There was a hut in the jungle. We were sleeping on first night I slept on a sack on the floor, on mud floor in the forest with no electricity, nothing. And there were animals and snakes, and so snakes would come inside the cottage also. I was crazy enough to do it. You have to be that crazy. You have to be that devoted. If you're not crazy, see, only crazy people are geniuses. You have to be crazy but not stupid. You have to be crazy and intelligent and well-meaning. If you're crazy, intelligent, but you're evil, you can be crazy, intelligent, and evil. You have to be crazy, intelligent, and kind or compassionate. Then you're doing the right thing. Then you're going in the right way. So you can take it. You have to take the effort to go and, you can find some time in the year to find a guru who has a mantra, who will give you the mantra. Go to him, spend some time with him. You might have to go a second time or a third time. Go there, take the mantra, and then keep in touch with them after 6 months, 1 year. Today, everything is so easy. You have the internet, you have Zoom. I have students in Malaysia, I have students in Russia. Many of them stay in touch with me. If they have doubts, they will call me and ask me, Swamiji, we have these problems. How do we deal with them? A lot of times there are no problems. Sometimes they try and deal with them on their own. But today we have this facility. My Guruji, you couldn't even tell him that.
Yes.
You all are lucky, no? We are at least very, very, how to say it,
Accessible.
more lenient. Very lenient compared to the older generation, which was whom we learned from. So it is not like you cannot learn that. So I will not agree with you there. And I will say that you must, people who are interested must take the effort and go out of the way and, try and learn. Take Diksha if they really want, they are really interested in doing something. So it is an effort. You have to take the effort.
So are there any mantras that are safe to chant and are good to chant at home in general on an everyday basis?
Yeah, normally all these Ram and Krishna mantras, Vaishnava mantras, most of them, some of the simple Shiv mantras which are there, these can be chanted. But the problem is that when you're chanting the mantra, the power is never full. So if you want to do something seriously, the better way to do it is to do it in a systematic way. If you do it systematically, that means going to a guru, taking Diksha from them and doing it systematically as they told you. Because suppose you had to drive a car and you decided not to buy a car and make a car, on your own, you would take ages making it because you don't know how to make it. So of course something will come out of it, and if you are really one of those people who knows how to make it, you will get there. But the difference here is that there is this other part, consciousness part. So there is a, when the guru adds that to you, so it makes your path makes it swifter and easier for you. So therefore, it's very worth finding a guru and taking Diksha from them.
Swamiji, on a different topic than the mantra, we are all familiar with the term karma, but I am suspecting that our knowledge is very superficial. So every day as we continue to live our life, we keep adding on to both our good karma and bad karma depending on our deeds. So apart from the behavior, how do we cleanse ourselves and get rid of the bad karma? And aside to this, I have a supplementary question, which is like the idea of mukti or the salvation. Is it that one must not have both good and bad karma? It's not like one should have only good and not bad. It's like we need to have a total zero balance account that way. Is that is that understanding correct?
No, it's actually, you asked a lot of questions in that one question. The second part of your question is not one question, it's a lot of questions together. So the way to reduce your karma is from what point of view should I answer that? I would answer it from the point of view of a spiritual person, no? For a spiritual practitioner, not for the ordinary person. So when we're talking about a spiritual practitioner, then the way to get rid of it is to do pranayam and stuff like that. Pranayam is one of the best ways to help you cleanse your emotional system out. Actually, we have in sadhana, I point out this to people more and more so. There are many aspects of it. There is a particular prayog, which is called Arisht Nivaran Prayog. Arisht Nivaran Prayog is a prayog which is meant for cleansing the past karmas which are not letting you go forward. The sins, you can say. And the ones which you committed before and the ones which you commit now also once in a while. Once in a while, everybody commits them irrespective of whether they want to or not. Sometimes they commit them, no? Yes. Even if you don't want to commit it, you still commit them. So to get rid of them, there is a particular sadhana called Arisht Nivaran. So there are 4 or 5 different kinds of prayogs. One of them is very simple, which is a reading of a particular part. So you have to read that part regularly. And then once you start reading it, it will start reducing some of the karmic load. The second thing is that a lot of people will scoff at it and laugh and say, what is Swami saying? But, if you observe the Indian year, we have this Pitr Paksh in the Indian year. So in the Pitr Paksh, we have 15 days is there in the Pitr Paksh. Navratri is 9 days. But Pitr Paksh is 15 days. So there is a reason why they kept Pitr Paksh there, because the Pitris who are there, there is a fault which comes in from the Pitris also. So that fault also has an effect on us. It doesn't let us go forward. So when you do sadhana to cleanse that pitri dosh also, that will also help you move forward in spiritual sadhana. So some of the things withholding you from moving forward, one of them is that this pitra dosh is one of the things. The other is your own sins which you have done in the past and some which you're doing now. The third is that there are obstacles in front of you because some of the obstacles are because of various factors. So for that, it is normally Ganesh sadhana which is given for that. And then beyond that, for good luck and all, there are other sadhanas which are there. There are many different sadhanas which are there which you have to do. And depending on what you want to achieve, suppose you want to be a warrior, then Hanuman sadhana is the one for you to do. Or you have a fighting spirit, or you have a masculine spirit, then Hanuman sadhana might be the one for you. If a woman wants to do a sadhana, she can also be a fighter, and she can be very peaceful also. So if she is peaceful, then she might want to do Lakshmi sadhana. If she wants to be a fierce warrior, she might do a Bhairavi sadhana or a Kali sadhana, for example. I'm just giving an example to make a point. Not that you should do it. Not that you should do it. I'm making a point. That's all. So there are different energies depending on what you wish to achieve, and depending on that, the sadhana will be given to you by the guru. So, and these past karmas, negative karmas which you have, one of the biggest things is that you'll be surprised. I was
I think we lost him.
He disconnected.
Let us just wait for some time.
Swamiji, we could not hear you for some time.
You have to unmute, I think. I think we lost you in between.
Yeah, I can hear her. That's okay.
Yes, we can hear you now. You were talking about the different kinds of sadhanas that can be done.
Yeah, I was saying that I was, watching I was reading a news article. This is a magazine which is the Marine Corps magazine. The Marine Corps, United States Marine Corps has a magazine, which a newsletter in which they talk about that. So interestingly enough, for the Marine veterans who have been through wars, they have they are giving them these meditations and pranayam and physical exercises and other things to help them adapt to the amount of trauma they had earlier. You see, so these things are helping them to cleanse and purify the system, to remove. So of course they don't know how the whole process works. They understand only bit and parts of it. So when they understand a bit of it, they are saying, oh, it will make you feel better. It might not make all of it go away, but it will make you feel better. Of course, there is a way to make it mostly go away. Not everything will go away, but a certain amount will go away. So one of the factors, for example, stress. One of the reasons you get stress is because what happens is that you have all kinds of load on your mind because of different factors. So how to get rid of this? So there is this emotional sheath. The Manomaya kosha is the emotional sheath. So when you do pranayam and there is a certain way, a specific way of doing it, then you can start cleansing that emotional sheath from your system. If you had no method, or you didn't know the proper method and you still did some kind of sadhana, some pranayam and some asana or something, some part will be reduced regularly anyway. If you did it systematically, it would happen faster. So that is the main difference. One will give you 20-30% result, the other will give you 80-90% result. That will be the difference in the sadhana. So of course, when you go to a teacher and you learn from him, it's a better way. So there, the karma which is there, the negative emotions which are there, because they are the ones which would let you go further. When you say karma is three kinds, no? Mansik, Vachik, and the physical, kayak. So the physical deeds, of course, you can stop, but the ones which are in the mind, which have gone deep in the mind, which are sitting there, they are there because you had done something earlier. Say, to give you an example, somebody wants to invest in the share market. Earlier, I had invested some 10 lakh rupees, 1 million rupees, he had invested in the share market. He lost a lot of money at that time. Now he has a very good opportunity to invest, but he has that fear. So the fear is an emotion. That emotion is stored with the previous experience. Or let's take a different example. Somebody had a partner, and some had a boyfriend or a girlfriend. Now that person, because of some reason, they had a fight, they left. Now they met another person who's very nice. It's the right person for them to get married to. But because they had that negative emotional experience, it is not letting them go forward to take the decision. So the negative emotional part is what is interfering. So a large part of the karma which we speak of, it is your negative, it's your emotion which is there, which is disturbing you. So when you start doing sadhana, the emotion which is there, that emotion starts coming and cleaning out, number one. And number two, the deeper things which are sitting there will also come out slowly, little by little. So if you know the technique, then you start removing them. The mantra will also do that. Most mantras will also do that. Pranayam will also do that. Meditation will also do that. But they all work in a different way. They have a different effect. So that is one of the other things about it. The other thing about mantra is that apart, so there are 2-3 other very important things about mantra. One of them is that when you chant the mantra, it pushes a positive energy into your mind. You know? So you generally what happens is you get angry and you have a negative loop. In that negative loop, you start, suppose somebody said something to you, so you say, how dare he say that to me? How dare he do that? How dare he say that to me? And that thought is repeating. It's going on for half an hour, 40 minutes, 45 minutes, and it's a negative energy running in your system. Here, what you do is when you start using the mantra, the positive energy is running in your, it's looping again, but it's looping in a positive way in your system. So this is one of the other major things about the mantra, what the mantra does. And also it is the only practice which will, because the Guru gave you the mantra, he gave it to you, it was alive. So when you start chanting the mantra, it adds energy to your system. It's like a unit of energy. So it keeps adding energy to your system. When it is adding energy, it's creating a certain pressure inside and throwing out the dirt because of the pressure. It's like, you know, taking a hose pipe and trying to hose something down. When you hose it down, it will throw out all the dirt which is there because the pressure is so much. In the same way, the mantra puts pressure. It fills it with energy and throws out the trash. So when you actually do the mantra, and if you've got the right mantra, you've done it for some time, you feel energized. So people will normally, Hanuman Chalisa, for example, has become very, very popular. The reason for that is the moment they do it few times, they feel really energy, you know, they feel, oh, now we are like nobody can touch us, because they suddenly feel that rush and power of energy, warrior-like energy, especially. That is one of the reasons why it is popular. So this is one of the other functions of mantra.
Thank you, Swamiji. Actually, as a final question, I would like to ask how do we get started on a spiritual journey? Like people like us, should we start? We go to yoga classes, we do a little bit of pranayama. So, do you have any advice on how we can progress, take it to the next step?
Generally, like just like that, just asking, say XYZ person is doing something in life, no? You know, doing something, you did a particular course in college. So now when you did that course, you were attracted to that particular course. Yes. You were attracted to a particular profession, you had a need for that. You see? So basically the baby is hungry. If the baby is hungry, the baby will go looking for food. The baby will cry, the baby will scream, the baby will make noise. So it's the same with the spiritual person. When the yearning should be there. When the spiritual person is hungry, when they have a really deep desire to learn, they have a yearning to learn, they are looking for something. That is the time they can really come and learn. So when you start your spiritual journey, the best thing is when you really have a desire for it, then you have to find a guru. You should find a guru, because in India, our system is Guru Shishya Parampara. So without the guru, there is no proper way of learning. The reason why the Guru Parampara is important is because the guru will help you at every point. He's not, of course, once you're there with the guru, he might ask you to do some seva. He might, he or she might tell you some, certain things to do, certain things and all that. But generally speaking, there is, so for example, this is one of the problems which is there in the West. In the West, they will not trust gurus easily. The reason they cannot trust gurus is because they have, whenever they have given power to anybody, the guy has gone crazy. Who they gave power to? Somebody like Hitler, somebody like Biden, Joe Biden. Trump. You see, now you have that guy, Olaf, what is his name? Olaf, I think. The German guy who is, he's a hawk, who is the chancellor now. So these people are people who want to be in power, especially like US politics. If you see today, that same politics was there in Europe earlier to a larger extent. Now they've become a little more civilized from previous times. But their objective was to be in power, to be in control, to be king. They are not enlightened people. They were never enlightened. They were not there to help you. They were there to be in power, to maintain that power, they had their internal personal desire for something. The guru in turn does not have a personal desire for certain power. He's already at a particular level of power. So he's not looking for that power. He's not looking for power as a reason why he wants to help you. He wants to help you because he reached a certain place. It's like he has a garden, and now he wants to help you also have a beautiful garden. Put it in a simple way. So that is the main objective. It's not because he wants to take away your garden, which is what politics does. But the guru is not a politician. Again, this is not a democratic institution where 20 people can decide what the guru must do.
Sure, of course.
The guru is it's not an autocratic institution either, because here it's a guru shishya parampara. The guru will tell you what the tradition and the shastra and dharma says. He will not think of something on his own. You see, we have 4 in Yoga Shastra. You must have read this already. We have these 4 things, which we say one has to follow. One is that it has to be written with the scriptures. Firstly, from the scriptures. Second, from experience. Third, from the masters. And fourth, logically. So when all 4 fall into place, only then we consider it as valid. So here in the same way, here also in the spiritual system also, it is valid only when everything is in place. It is not just by the guru, whatever the guru says. But it is also the tradition, what the tradition says. Now, if he's saying something completely wrong and you still believe in him, maybe he has a reason for saying that. That is a different matter. But the point I'm trying to make is that the tradition in general does not, it is not a free for whatever you feel like doing thing. There is a tradition, there is a flow going from the top to the bottom, from the top to the people who are there now, which the whole tradition is all behind us. We are, going forward with the tradition behind us, moving in the same direction as the tradition moved. Therefore, there is a responsibility. It is not like you are free to do whatever you feel like. That is what I'm trying to point out.
Thank you, Swamiji. At this point, I want to open the floor to the audience. If they have any specific questions, if you're okay, they can ask you directly.
Not at all.
Namaste, Guruji. I'm Srini from Bangalore. You told that Gayatri Mantra is something to be done or practiced under the guidance of a guru, and it needs to be done a specific number of times so that you get the best benefit of it. How do I go about it?
How do you what?
How do I go about it? How do I find a guru for that who will teach me and guide me on these matters?
Gayatri practitioners are many. There are many people who have practice the Gayatri and who have received Diksha and Gayatri. So one can find a guru easily. I have also done Gayatri. I received it from one Brahmachariji who had done. He did some 16 crore repetitions of the Gayatri, 14 crore repetitions of the Gayatri. So, and there are others also who have done Gayatri. There are many sadhaks of Gayatri in India today. So it is better to go to one of the sadhaks who has been doing Gayatri continuously and take Diksha from them.
Can you list out a couple of benefits of this Gayatri Mantra? Though we know a few of it, can you list out the top 3 benefits of Gayatri Mantra, chanting Gayatri Mantra?
There is nothing like the 3 top benefits of any mantra. That is not a very, that's like a Western approach little bit. But since you're asking, I'll say them, but this is not the way we approach a mantra. Because the mantra is, it's a live thing. It's live like it's a deity. It's a living deity, So, for example, you have a wife. You cannot ask what are the three top, you will not ask a question like what are the three top uses for or benefits of having of my wife, for example. You see, so this Gayatri Mantra is more than just a mantra. It is a living form of goddess for us. So therefore, such a question actually is it's a very Western-minded question in my opinion. However, since you asked me, Gayatri Mantra is the mantra which is basically for opening your intellect. Like all mantras, when you do the mantra, it is a mantra which will, purify your subtle body and your subtle system and cleanse the entire system when you start doing the mantra. That is a standard practice for all of them. But the Gayatri especially gives you that particular intelligence, and it has a power, it has the energy of the sun. So it's got a huge spiritual power which comes with it. And this spiritual power it's not expressed. There are certain mantras like the tantric mantras and all where the power will be expressed and it's visible straight away. Everybody can feel it. The Gayatri Mantra, the power is not easily felt. That energy is with you, but she is not visible to everyone.
Thank you, Guruji.
Swamiji, I have a question, mostly on your personal experience. So after some time, right, you attain some stage in your sadhana and you want to continue to do that. And also there is this thing of sharing your wisdom with others. So how do you balance between these two? Like when you come to a point where you have to share, at the same time you have to do your personal sadhana to get more and more deeper into it. So how do you kind of establish a balance between these two extremes?
See, actually that the question which you are asking, it appears to be at a slightly personal level for you yourself. This is what I get the impression. Because this is a question which I have faced many times before in the time I've been teaching. What happens is that you reach a certain point where you are doing sadhana, but you have not completely. So this sadhana is not completely fully a part of you yet. It is something with which you are still sort of working hard to get across, go over to a certain side or a level, so that there is this barrier coming in which is disturbing you. But once you cross over, then it becomes very natural because you are at a point where you're giving continuously. So this disturbance will not come because you will be giving all the time. This is one of the other common I should say similar problems with sadhaks face. There are 2-3 of them actually. But one of them which they face is when they do yoga sadhana, they will often feel that other people have a negative impact on them. A lot of negative people who have negative impact, who have negative emotions, they feel that they are having a negative impact on them and they can't protect themselves from them. This is one of the other common problems which many of the instructors face. So usually when you are doing mantra sadhana, there is a system of doing kavach sadhana, which will protect you from all this. So once you reach a certain level, beyond that, then giving becomes very easy because you've crossed a certain threshold. So that is when you reach that certain threshold, we will just give naturally. Other thing is that this problem of teaching people in Kali Yuga, very few people are serious. Today, if you travel into India, I go to villages. And sometimes we sit and talk. I tell those villagers, I tell them, tell me, here earlier, when you were sitting in your village, a lot of sadhus used to come. There used to be whole tolis, groups of sadhus, they will come. And they will come to your door, and many of the richer people, zamindars over there, they will, welcome them. They will keep them there. They will feed them for a few days. They will have bhajan, kirtan and all that, and they will go away. I ask them now, where are those sadhus? You see them? Where are those sadhus? So they have no answer. They say, no, Swami, nobody is there. Nobody comes anymore. Rarely, once in a while, maybe once in 6 months, once in 1 year, some toli will come once in a while. But previously, it was every day sadhus would be coming and going. Sadhus were coming and going. People were spiritual. People were practicing. People were doing something. Effectively, what is happening is that the next generation, there is nobody who is really, really seriously interested in doing sadhana. So what I find is that there are many masters today. There are very rare masters who have many sadhus or many sadhaks. But most masters, they don't have adequate number of sadhaks. So one will find that there is nobody, because this life of comfort we have today, we have gotten used to it. Being a sadhu means hugging discomfort. Nobody wants to hug discomfort. They want to hug comfort. So nobody wants to be a sadhu anymore. So therefore, when they really don't have a deep hunger for it, their level of learning is not totally dedicated. And therefore, this question of teaching regularly is a bit of a, it's counterproductive. Not that it should not be done, but it is little counterproductive. And other thing is that when you're doing sadhana, you have to be regular in your sadhana. See, you have to make a set thing that 4 hours every day I will do in sadhana. Now, if you're being disturbed because of others when you're doing your sadhana, that means you need help. Either you need help from some master, or alternatively, for some time you need to cut away yourself from them, and then you can sit and do some sadhana. Or you can reduce the number of commitments you have. Those are some of the options which you can have. There may be other options also, but these are some of the options that are available.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. Thank you. And there's one more question related to Omkara itself, because there is always a discussion. There are two different ways of chanting it. One is Omkara itself, other is A, U, and Ma separately chanting it. So, and I read somewhere that Omkara is meant for the spiritual, the sadhu, I mean, the one who have left the family and they've taken sannyas, and Auma is mainly for the grastas and all of that. So something that I wanted to know more about these.
There is nothing like that. The Om, the word Om, when we say Hrimkar, for example, or Klimkar, the Kar ending means we don't want to say the mantra. That is why we use Kar in front of it. It's just to indicate that particular mantra without saying the mantra, because we are not saying the whole mantra the way it is. We are adding this Kar, so the mantra is not being said. So when we say Om, Om is the basic mantra is Om. When you chant it, Om is the mantra for sannyasis, because it is from Agni Paddhati, which is what I explained to you in the beginning of these 3 Paddhatis. So when if you start chanting Om regularly, then it will take you towards sannyas. But the thing about Om is that it is a fire beej, means it's a beej of destruction. So it will start destructing everything which is there, good and bad. It will initially destruct the bad, but then start destructing the good also. The problem is that when you're in the world, even if you're a sannyasi, most sannyasis also have to look after their ashrams. They also have to travel. They also have to, have a certain amount of things in their life. So, and especially the family man, what to speak of him, he needs everything in his life. So that's why the Om is not a mantra which is for family people, number one. And number two, even for sannyasis, when they are at a later point in their lives and they want to completely, achieve liberation, and they are unconcerned about everything, they don't really care about what is going on. Their sole aim is to get liberation. Then that is the time when they should be doing Omkar, otherwise Om. Otherwise, they should avoid the mantra. Om should not be done too much. It is a mantra for moksha, basically. All mantras are for moksha, but it is a mantra for moksha which levels everything. It will burn out everything. So that is the thing about it. And this Auma is basically an explanation. It is not a. So they break it down and say it is made of these 3, and these 3 have an intellectual explanation. You can give a intellectual explanation about anything, for example. So even one can look at anybody, like, for example, you are wearing the Mangal Sutra. So one can give an intellectual explanation about the Mangal Sutra. So it has black and gold. This black is Maya and gold is Hiranyagarbha. And then from there you can take on and give a half an hour lecture on that. So that is a intellectual playing game. Indians love to do that. So these intellectual games, they are okay. Also nice. Also very good to increase your intellect. But from the point of view of sadhana, they may not be needed.
So it is not recommended for anyone to take Auma as a mantra, right? It's not recommended as a part of sadhana.
It is not Auma, it is Om only. But the thing is, when you write O, what happens is that because of the way it is written, they take it as A, U, and Ma. You see? And then there is an explanation of how the mantra works. That is, there's a Mandukya Upanishad in which they have given this Mandukya Karika, in which they have given this explanation about the Om mantra. But basically, the mantra is, like I said, I did not find any place where the actual pronunciation of the mantra is given anywhere. And for that matter, for most mantras, it is not there. In this thing also, they have not explained anywhere how to pronounce it. See, for other alphabets, there is some this thing of the explanation is there, where the tongue goes and what goes and everything. But for Om, there is no such proper explanation.
Swamiji, I do have a follow-up question regarding the Gayatri Mantra that you just mentioned. It creates a certain energy in the body because it is the fire is what you said. Is there anything?
I never said fire, I said Surya.
Surya, okay. So should it always be chanted in combination with something else so that we balance it out? Or will there be any adverse effects on the body because of chanting only Gayatri Mantra?
So when you're doing a Gayatri, see, it all depends. Now, suppose somebody has given you Diksha, then it is working in full power. Number one. Number two, how much of Gayatri are you doing? If you're doing one mala, it is not sufficient to really do anything. It is slightly it'll heat up, nothing much will happen. But if you're doing 30 malas every day and you plan to do this for a few years, it's a different matter. So if you're doing little bit, nothing much will happen to you. If you put little bit of salt and pepper in your food, it is tolerable. But if you want to snack on pepper, then you better be sure you can digest that, no? It's something like that.
So there is no combination that you can have it with. I know I'm asking like a restaurant, but I mean, for lay people, the way we understand is if this is going to be a problem, can it be done with something else?
So first you want to keep the water on the fire, then you want to add ice to it.
Okay. Okay, I understand. Okay.
No, the thing is, if you do a little bit of Gayatri here and there, because this is the problem. One of the sadhus used to say that the boat is meant to take you across the river. The glory is not in the boat. The glory is in going across. See? So if that boat is not suitable for you, if you need it, if you have a different boat which seems better, which is more suitable for you, then you take the other boat. So you don't have to stick to any one particular sadhana because everybody told you that this mantra and this sadhana is the best. There are many others. Normally, this for ladies, this Chamunda mantra is the one which is given to them, or there is a Trakshari mantra, Bhuvaneshwari Vidya, which is given to them. So these are the two traditionally which are given more to women. So it's better to do one of these mantras. They will give you a better amount, faster energy is faster. Even if the Chamunda mantra, normally if you are doing the mantra without even initiation, that mantra works faster, much faster than the Gayatri will
go. Okay. Thank you, Swamiji. Thank you for taking this time for sharing the insights with us. On behalf of Yoga Vijnana Foundation, I want to express our sincerest thanks to you. Thank you for gracing this occasion, the Mystic Dimension series. I'm sure the talk was very engaging and thought-provoking, and you so beautifully took us through your experience with yoga and clarified what the benefits of a mantra and tantra are, and gave us a little more depth in understanding. And I'm sure that just like me, the others in the audience are also touched and inspired by your journey and your experiences. We're so fortunate to hear from you. And I want to thank you for your time today. And I would also like to thank Yoga Vijnana. Thank you, Vinay. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to hear from Swamiji today. And thanks to all of you who have joined us today. A big thank you. You've been such a wonderful and patient audience. And before we close, I would like to gently remind you about the session tomorrow. We will be interacting with Swami Sashwatanand Saraswati at 7:30. Thanks to all of you once again. Thank you, Swamiji. Thank you, Vinay. Thank you, everyone. Wish you all a great evening and hope to see you in tomorrow's session. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeshra.
Thank you so much, Swamiji. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Swamiji.
Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Swamiji.
Vinay and team.
Thank you, Vinay sir.